Rap Radio. Raw and uncut.
Cubo, and welcome to Chicano Rap Radio. I'm your homie Snipes holding it down, and today we have Chicano rap legend, Mr. D of Southland Entertainment in the house. So without further ado, let's welcome the homeboy to the show. What's up, G? How you doing today?
I'm good, and you?
And I'm doing great. I'm excited to have you on the show. You've played a huge role in developing Chicano rap. You've your music by itself, but also some of the artists that you've worked with. And I definitely wanted to capture that for our audience. In the last 20 years, I mean, you've put out, you have a massive catalog. What do you feel has been the secret to your longevity in regards to the rap game?
Just being consistent. Keeping it consistently and not, try not to take too many breaks. Just consistently put out something, at least, a couple things every year,
And you've worked with a lot of artists. I mean, for those people who aren't familiar, I mean, can you name some of the artists that you've worked with? I mean, aside from big names like Nate Dogg, I mean, what are some of the artists that you've, played a role in developing their career that have worked with you as far as Southland?
On the mainstream rappers, I did when Badass, before Rest in Peace Badass, I did something with him. And that's when you did that Dog Pound Gangster Putting It Down. We did something right after that called Deep in the Game off the first album we recorded that back in 90, 97, 98. And Rodney O and Joe Cooley, Rodney O. Who else was up there? Had some major features on the first album back in the 90s. See, a lot of people nowadays are trying to do the black and brown thing,
Right. You've been doing that
since the 90s, yeah.
Yeah. And are you talking about Deep in the Game, or is there another album that
It's the Deep in the Game album. We had Rodney O, Badass, Young Dre, and a few others on that album that were black guys, and then we had some Chicanos on there as well.
And I think one of the most notable ones is, when you work with 187 out of
Yeah, I've been working with Code 187, Above the Law. He was the originator of G-Funk music, gangster funk, G-Funk. A lot of people think it was Warren G, but it was Code 187, Above the Law. Showed Dr. Dre a lot. If you listen to the Chronic album, that was heavily influenced by the Black Mafia album by Above the Law. If you listen, they even use some of the same samples. So,
right. He's definitely a West Coast rap legend, and I see you guys have a tight relationship, and you guys work well together. Your most recent album that you released in 2020, that was the 187 album. Why'd you decide to call it the 187 album?
Because 187, Code 187 was on every song, and when you spell Code 187, it's S-U-M. It's 187 187. And then the album ends with UM, so it's kind of slick. So it was this because he was on every track, and we did the album together.
I know that recently you put out another single, On My Own. Tell me a little bit more about that single, the concept behind that.
Well, that was it's a love song, something for the women. Some men would probably think it's kind of soft, but I don't care. What I do music for is I do music for the women, because those are the biggest supporters.
Right.
That, always been. If you look at my Instagram, the most people following me are women, which is a good thing. I'd rather impress them than men anyway. So,
right. And I think that applies pretty much to all genres of music, that the females are the biggest supporters of the music. They buy the posters, they buy the ticket sales, they download the music. They're very loyal. They'll tat their artist, their favorite rapper on themselves. So I
haven't seen Mr. D tats, but maybe so.
I'm sure we're gonna put the word out.
I did see Gangsters Get Lonely tattoos. I did see that. But,
and I was gonna lead back into that. From my research, it seems to me like that album that song that you put out, the Gangsters Get Lonely 2, has been the most successful track in regards to the fan engagement and the plays and the streams. Is that accurate?
In Latin rap history, it's one of the at least top 10, maybe top 5. In Chicano rap, Latin rap history, it's number 1 requested on the Art LeBeau show, who is the number 1 DJ of all time. You go on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, you see his star. So I don't know how much bigger you could get than that.
Right. And your music, I mean, you've always represented for the streets, and Southland Entertainment, has always, been putting it down for the culture. And so, I think you've done a good job of blending, in regards to Chicano rap, blending music, for the homies, and then also making music, for the females. Not many people
Mhm.
can do both, and you've been able to do that. I also want just to kind of touch a little bit in regards to you working with Nate Dogg, because I think he's one of the greats as well in regards to the West Coast music scene. How was it working with Nate Dogg, and how do you feel that elevated your music?
Yeah, Nate Dogg was cool. I think he just died a couple of days ago on that date. Um, he was a real humble artist, for being the best hook singer of all time, you know, hands down. He was incredibly humble, and it was good working with him, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah. You have a couple of tracks with him, right? I mean, should have
Correct,
been
correct,
mine,
correct.
and then you should have been mine, the remix, and I think you have some
Yeah,
other ones.
it was only one session we worked, but we did put in some good work that day
All
over there
right.
in North Hollywood.
And for people right now that are still kind of have their ear to the ground, they've been there's been a big resurgence in regards to like that G funk sound, and in
Mhm.
particular, Nate Dogg's son. I mean, do you think you guys will ever link up or work together? Is there any plans for that?
I don't know him, but yeah, I'd love to, of course. His dad's a legend, and I
Yeah,
heard some of his tracks and he's good too.
yeah,
So
yeah. And then people say there's similarities between the two of them.
I hope so. That's his son, it should be. That's how it should be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, tell me a little bit more in regards to like what you feel was your role in regards to developing Chicano rap as an industry.
I just I think it could have died. It was about to die, I think, because it really wasn't no labels really doing it the way they're, out there like we did, and a couple other labels like High Power and Low Profile were out at the time. But as an LA label based, even though we had um artists from all over the Southern California, and we just kept it going. We kept it alive. We kept the whole genre alive. Because of course there was people before us, Proper Dose, Kid Frost, Lighter Shit of Brown, Spanish Fly, um, Brown Side. There was a bunch of people before us, but they weren't labels. We took it to a whole different label way, as in releasing, kind of like how Master P did it with No Limit, and
Yeah.
how Ruthless was doing it in Death Row. We just kept it going on and on.
And
Yeah.
one of the things that stands out to me in regards to what you're mentioning about the labels is that when you look at Chicano rap and you look at the successful record labels that have done Chicano rap, they've been able to stay independent and be
Mhm.
successful, and also work with some of the major labels in regards to distribution, but still keeping that anonymity, you know what I mean, where
Correct,
you still
correct.
control your fate. And so, props to you and everybody else who's done that, because I think that's one of the reasons why it has kept Chicano rap alive, because of the independence that you guys were
Yeah,
able to
we
maintain.
showed it that you could do it on your own. You don't need the majors. You don't need someone that's going to, tell you how to do it and want it their way. We did it our way. We didn't have no one tell us what we had to do or how to do it. We just did it our way, and if they didn't like it too bad, we still released it. You know what
And
I mean?
do you think any of that success is attributed to your distribution of the music?
Physical distribution was out of the trunk. We went everywhere. We went all around the world, United States, and in some parts of the world selling shit out of our trunk.
Right, right,
We sold more units out of our trunk than what we sold through major distribution. So that's why you don't see us have those big sound scans. But we did sell those units,
right.
but those weren't accounted for. But the major's like, oh, let me check your sound scan. Oh, you guys only sold this amount of music. And I said, you better times that by two, maybe 10. We
Yeah,
sold,
yeah,
double that and double that again.
right,
So that's why I think a little bit of lack of respect that the majors give Chicanos. That
right.
not no if they realize how much Chicanos could sell, they would have all kinds of Chicanos signed
Right, right.
and
And
label.
I want to get a little bit more into that, what you're talking about, the power behind the Chicano rap movement, or just the Chicano supporting music in general. But let's take a quick little break and we'll be right back. You're
All right.
listening to Chicano Rap Radio, raw and uncut.
Hit us up at 805-395-6595 for your special requests, dedications, and shout-outs. Chicano Rap Radio, raw and uncut.
Welcome back to Chicano Rap Radio. we're chopping it up with Mr. D of Southland Entertainment. We've been talking about the music and, why he's been successful for so long, for his career, and, talking about some of the artists that he worked with. Where we left off, we were talking about how the physical distribution contributed to your success, and how major labels perhaps don't give us the respect that we deserve because the SoundScan numbers don't add up. But then again, they're not looking at the numbers on the streets, the numbers that
Yeah.
aren't being accounted for. And you mentioned that if they knew what we were really doing, then they could see how successful we could be. Tell me a little bit more about that in regards to your view of Chicano rap moving forward, the future of Chicano rap.
Well, as long as there's Chicanos still in this world, I think we'll support our own people, and I think we're the majority now. And I know in Southern California we are, and probably the Western states we are. We just got to support our own people and not, I'm not saying not support other, people, but just make sure you support your own, because everybody else
Right.
supports their own first. We should
Right.
support our own first.
Yeah.
It's not a prejudice view. It's just a real view.
Right.
You got to always back your own people and
Yeah.
support your own people.
And I don't think many people are aware at the fact that majority of the artists that are popping now, they have a huge support from Chicanos. I would say
Even now,
67% of them.
even now, NWA was supported. We supported probably. We were probably the biggest consumers of NWA, biggest consumers of rap in general, of rap history. The biggest consumers are us.
Right.
So why aren't one of us a platinum artist? Why ain't one of us sold 5 million, 10 million records? It's something ain't right. Well, it's a conspiracy against the Chicano. And if we don't
Right.
wake up and realize that, we're going to keep being the consumers. We don't want to
Right.
be the consumers. We want to be the people, we want to be on top.
Right. Right. Do you think any of that has to do with the lack of unity in the industry?
Nah, it maybe could be, but it's just lack of respect that the other cultures give us. It's just really disrespectful how we're treated in the industry that we support.
How do we
You know,
change that?
maybe stop supporting others that don't support us. And stop trying to act like others that aren't us. You know,
Right. Right. Can you elaborate on that? What do you mean trying to act like others?
you know what I'm saying. We don't, using their lingo, using their way of dress. They laugh at us when we do that.
Hmm.
I know black artists. They want to see us proud Chicanos. They don't want to see us looking like them.
Right.
To act like them and look like them. And like 69, I think he's the biggest joke in the world.
Right.
And that ain't us. He ain't, he don't represent us. That's for sure. He's from the East, but still,
Well,
that's
and
not.
he associates with being a blood. I mean, he's not a Southsider.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But even, but he still, he has Mexican blood in him. But
Right.
he's a Mexican blood.
And he likes to mention that when he can. He
Exactly,
likes to
exactly.
point
Because
that
he
out.
knows he's smart enough to know that he has so many Mexicans that support him and buy his records. And
Right.
he knows he has that advantage on the black rappers around him, that he's going to get our people to buy his records, even though I don't know why we would and why we would support someone that read it. But, that's a whole different subject.
Right.
You know?
Right. Well, and my opinion is that I don't think everybody is has grown up with some of the same values that some of the OGs, or even people who aren't
That's
OGs,
true. That's true. Yeah.
values and morals. I mean, I don't know at what point it happened, but I think the younger generation, not all of them, I'm not to say not to say that there's not young people that have values and morals, but I think most of them, they don't care about the snitching, or they don't care about those things that we value, which
Until
is
they get
lame.
snitched on.
Right, right. And so moving forward, I mean, where do you see Chicano rap? Let's assume we all come together. Let's assume we all support each other. Where do you see Chicano rap in the next 5 to 10 years?
Oh, it ain't going nowhere. It ain't going nowhere at all. It's gonna keep on. It's either gonna explode or just stay at a steady pace. But it sure ain't going nowhere because we ain't going nowhere. And we're just gonna keep getting stronger and stronger, hopefully. And yeah, if we all unite and everybody supports one another like we should, it could be a force to be reckoned with. You know what I mean?
There's a lot of people who are still pushing hard copy CDs, and
Right.
in my view, I think that was one of the things that helped out labels like Southland Entertainment and and High Power and Urban Kings and everybody else out there, was that the margins were so big in the distribution side of things that it allowed you, it gave you the resource to continue to invest in the music. Um,
Like I said before, not to cut you off about hard copies. If you consider yourself a real rapper and making, if you're just making singles, I don't consider that a real rapper. A real rapper, real artist does 13 songs, 15 songs, and puts out a hard copy CD and has something to show for themselves and has something to sign for their fans. Otherwise, you're just some Spotify, YouTube rapper. You got something really to prove that you've done something, and that's that hard CD, and they can't take that from you. It's
right.
nothing better to give a fan, or I don't know, sell a fan a CD that you signed. That's the ultimate
What
show
what
that you're
about
really doing something.
what about the young fans that probably don't even own a CD player or nothing to play the music on? Like, how do you get them?
I don't know. Vinyl's selling a lot, and probably half the people buying vinyl don't even own a record player.
Ah,
It's more of like
that's a good point.
it's just something to have, something you got from the artist.
Right, right. It's something like collectible, something that
Yeah,
you can,
collectible, exactly.
and
You
that's a
know,
really good point. I'm
if you're
glad you brought
really
that up.
if you're really rocking with an artist and you really appreciate what he does, I want the whole record on that dude. You know what I mean? I want a
Right,
whole record on him. I want to see what other songs he sang, not just the singles.
right,
What other
right.
songs he made. You know what I mean?
And do you think now that the economy is starting to open up, do you think um, uh, the Chicano rap movement is gonna have like a strong push to move their artists, in regards to units and touring? What do you
Oh
think is the
no,
future of that?
most of those people putting tours together have no idea what they're doing, and they just pick their selected few that they think that are popping, and it's really biased on who they picking. So I know most promoters don't like me, so it is what it is. I'll just promote my own shows.
Right.
Because I never try to kiss no ass in this industry. I never have and never will. So we gotta get together and do our own shows.
Right.
Fuck the promoters. Punk ass promoters. I don't give a fuck about them.
And is there any plans for any,
Oh,
Southland Entertainment?
definitely. We're
Anything
gonna
you can
do
speak on?
not yet, because if it don't happen, I'll look stupid. But
Or
but
you speak on it and you have no choice but to make it happen.
that's true. That's true. Yeah, we're gonna do a hundred city tour and all over the world.
That's right. That's right. There you go.
Hit all the
Now you have
countries.
to do it.
Yeah, every country in the world.
Well,
Yeah.
and speaking about overseas and other countries, there is a big following for Chicano music, Chicano
Oh,
rap in
yeah.
Japan. Do you
It's
see
not
yourself
just
going back?
Japan. It's not just Japan now. You got China involved. You got France. You got Italy. You got Germany. You got England. You know, they're fucking with the old school. Old school Chicano rap is big out in those places.
That's right.
I trip out how many different countries I get when I go, check my DMs. There are people all over the world, and it trips me out that, you know, from a place where we come from, we influence the world. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
You know,
And there's perhaps even more success overseas,
and
for
they're less,
Chicanos.
they show less hate.
Right.
People in your backyard are always the biggest haters, and
Yeah.
that's just
Yeah.
how it goes.
It's like crabs in a bucket. You know what I mean? They don't want to see someone else climb, so they pull you back down.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the same old story. Yeah.
All right. Well, I think you're onto something. I think there is a big market for Chicanos to do a world tour, hit a couple of cities, hit a couple of countries, and
Oh, yeah.
get a good return. So, I'm gonna try to do whatever I can to help manifest that, because I definitely see Chicano rap growing in popularity and growing in numbers. For everybody that's coming up in the game, whether you're OG or you're a newcomer, there's definitely a bright future for you. I
There's
want
room
to,
for everybody as long as
right,
everybody stays respectful, and not try to step on another man.
right. I want to get a little bit more in regards to some of the talent that you have, at Southland Entertainment, but let's take a quick little break and we'll be right back. You're listening to Chicano Rap Radio, raw and uncut.
Chicano Rap Radio, raw and uncut.
Welcome back to Chicano Rap Radio. we're chopping it up with Mr. D of Southland Entertainment. We've been talking about, his career. We've been talking about, the future of Chicano rap. I want to get more into the future of Southland Entertainment. Tell me a little bit more about the artists that are on your label, and the future that, that you have for them.
Well, the most recent release is this one right here. That's
Young Uno.
Young Uno out the 818. That's the hard copy right there. Purchase that. It's available now, or download his music on iTunes, wherever else good music is sold. Sound like a commercial. Yeah. So we got Young Uno's new album. We got Hillside album we put out. We got the S.A. Sane album. We got me and my brother Bobby. We did an album, and we got Southland Gangster album. It has Lazy and Casper on it. The Kaz has his own album out. We got, the camp's still strong. We're still doing things, and we're also working on this Southland, a Southland Tale, the movie. If you ain't seen the Southland Tale, the movie, have you seen that?
No, I haven't had a chance to check it out, but that's something I wanted to talk to you about. I'm glad you brought that up. Tell me a little bit more about the Southland Tale.
The Southland Tale is a movie we did it. The first one, was really raw. It was just, we didn't, we had no idea really how to make a movie, but we did it anyway. It's like when we made our first records. Right. People might still think we don't know how to make a record, but we do it anyway. And being told no, you can't do it, made me want to do it. So I got told no, you can't make a movie by a million people. So I was like, okay, I'll prove you wrong. Right. So we made a movie. It was like original cut was like 3 hours long. So
wow.
Yeah. So
longer than Avatar.
Yeah, I know. It was probably more exciting than Avatar too. No, but we knocked it down to about I think it's an hour and a half now, maybe a little over. No, actually it's an hour and 45 minutes to be exact. It was a pretty good cast we had in there. You might see some cameos from different rappers in the business. You had Kid Frost in there. Cole 187 was in there. Cornejo was in there. I'm probably gonna forget somebody. Enemy, Most Wanted, Oxnard Homies.
That's right.
Quete Yesca. I hate not having a list in my head. Trouble P from Mob G. That was all in the first one. The second one we're gonna we've been shooting the second one, so it should be out maybe this year, hopefully. I can't give an exact date, but we're working on volume part 2.
Are you done recording? Is it
no, we're in the middle of production right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we were out in Arizona shooting it with Big Mike out there in Arizona.
That's right.
And we shot out there with Scar, Cholo's Try, I think he did that. And Young Uno was with me, and then Felipe from Colors. I don't know if you know him, my boy.
Yeah.
He was there over there, and we had a lot of good cast out there in Arizona. So now we're taking it back out here to Burbank. We'll be out there working on some more scenes.
That's right. And then I imagine it's only going to get better, as you learn from the first movie. This one's, going to be a lot better.
Oh yeah,
this
one should be
the
quality. The quality should be way better, on this one. I look at the first one, I'm like, man, it bothers me watching it sometimes, quality wise, but the whole topic and the whole plot of the film, I think it was cool.
Right. And you mentioned something that I think is very powerful for people to understand, is that sometimes you just have to do it. You're not always going to have the answers. You just do it, and you learn. You learn through trial and error. That's the only way you're going to get better, by just doing it. If you just sit back, then you'll never ever do it, and you don't know what it would have became.
Well, that's what people ask me, like young rappers come up. What's your best advice? I'm all, don't take no for an answer. Do it, no matter what. More times you're told no, use that as motivation. Get yourself going and do it. Fuck what they say. Do it anyway.
Right. And I want to plug in back the album that Young Uno has out right now. Tell me why it is that you felt that Young Uno had a future with Southland Entertainment. What about his flow? What about his music?
I think he's to me he's the hardest young homie out right now. Way underrated. I know there's some hard homies out, know how to rap out there, but I just like how his whole flow was, he paid respect to the old school, and then didn't try to come like like these kids nowadays. He kept it true, and course,
true
he's
to the
from the
culture.
yeah. Of
True to
course,
his
he's from the
heritage.
818 too. So
That's right. So you got to put him on.
yeah,
That's right. You got to represent. You got to.
yeah.
I feel like you can't get to where you're going unless you know where you come from. You always
Of
have to
course,
touch
of course,
your roots.
of course. And you got and another reason I want to keep Southland, for fresh face. You know what I mean? And keep it, a whole new face in there. We're kind of people probably got tired of seeing my face. So
Well, you're iconic, and I like that you speak your mind. You are controversial, and I think that that's part of your appeal. That that you don't hold back, and you speak your mind. And I think that's what made you successful. That you're not sugarcoating anything, and we appreciate that. At least I appreciate that.
yeah, yeah. Well, you gotta always speak up for what you believe in.
Right.
You can't live on your knees. You know what I mean?
No, no.
Yeah,
Rather die on my feet than to live on my knees. That's for sure.
exactly.
So, is there any plans for any big collaborations between Young Uno and other artists that that you're used to working with?
Young Uno and his collabs, I ain't really tripping off his collabs. I don't think he'll probably do some, but I don't think he needs any.
Right,
We spoke about that before. He holds his own. I
right,
think he don't even really need to rap with nobody. He's good enough to just hold his own. Not saying it's bad to do collabs. Of course I've done collabs my whole life and whole career, but I just right now he's developing himself, and we'll see what happens in the future. But
he,
he's
he's building up his resume and learning and standing on his own 2 feet. He doesn't need to.
right to
Okay.
pay some man that might not want to rap with him anyway, but paying him, I don't know. It's a trip, how things you look at that. The future game is kind of a trip.
Right,
Because I can't go against it because I've done it, but I think it should be more of a trade off.
right. Mutual trade-off.
A mutual thing, yeah.
Right, right.
But
And is there any last words that you want to leave the fans with?
keep the movement alive. Keep supporting Chicano rap. Support my boy here, Snipes, and keep listening to his podcast, and hopefully you'll see him on the radio in the future. And you guys first seen him here, so
That's
I
right.
think you got a bright future ahead of you.
I,
I just don't tell it to nobody. Especially in this radio game.
well, you just told the whole world, and we
Yeah,
appreciate it. We really
yeah,
appreciate it, and
yeah.
we look forward to your upcoming projects. With Young Uno and all your other artists on the label. We also want to support. We're going to support your upcoming Southland Tale.
Yeah. Let me move my camera real quick so I can get you that poster shot
Yeah,
of that.
yeah. Let's check it out.
You see that? Do you see that? That's the Southland Tale movie right there. Did you see it?
Yeah.
This is the room right here.
And if someone wanted to go check that out, where can they get a copy of that?
It's available only on eBay right now.
Okay.
It might be on Amazon too, but mainly on eBay. And
Okay.
soon after, I only have a few copies left. So once those are sold out, I'm going to put it up on YouTube or somewhere else, on a digital platform. It was on a couple others, but it's taken down right now.
Okay.
This is just the original cut. The next cut's going to be not as long.
That's right. And are you guys done working on the soundtrack for that?
On the volume 1?
The next one.
Oh no. We're in, as the movie goes on, the soundtrack's the last part. We
Okay.
film the movie first, then worry about the soundtrack.
That's right. Well, we'll have to have you back once that once you have the final cut in. That way we can
For sure,
promote
for
it
sure.
and remind people to go check that out. We want to continue to support each other. I think that's going to be really important for the future of Chicano rap, or just for the future of Chicanos in the entertainment industry, because now you're crossing over, and so
I
make sure
agree.
you.
These people, we all got to support each other, and the Chicanos that are not just in the rap game. We need to support each other as well. The comedians, the actors.
Right.
We should all have each other's back.
Yep. Because we're a force to be reckoned with, without a doubt, for sure.
Of course.
All right. Well, we appreciate you joining us. We're big fans right here at Chicano Rap Radio, and as I said, we're going to keep an eye out for any of your future projects, and we'll definitely have you back to get your 2 cents, your controversy, and some of the things that you like to say.
Controversial to say.
All
I
right.
got 2 pennies right here, though.
That's right. There's your 2 cents.
There's my 2 cents. Can you see that?
Yeah. All right, G. Well, thank you so much for joining us. And anybody out there listening, again, make sure you go support Southland Entertainment and all the projects that they have coming down the pipeline. You're listening to Chicano Rap Radio.
Chicano Rap Radio. Raw and uncut.